My security risk is ultra high, and I have to perpetually be on the lookout for attacks on my person. Same applies to especially the operational officers of the OSP. Such is the volatility in which the fight against corruption is being waged in our nation. And the only fine hour of the job is the hope that one is helping to build a just and fair society. One only hopes that it is not a hopeless sort of hope, and that it is a hopeful sort of hope. This perhaps accounts for the realism of only a few good men in the space, as I see it. In the ordinary circumstances of mankind, not many persons would offer their services and expend their energies in such a charged environment. The fight against corruption demands immense sacrifice from us all. It requires purging oneself of reproach first, and then forming a containment ring of communal reckoning, of not having a choice about it, but to keep suppressing and repressing such acts. It is upon this aspiration I proceed further. Part 1. The usual suspects: corruption and state capture. Corruption is as old as time itself. If you put any premium on the creation story in the Bible, then it would seem that from the moment Eve allowed herself to be beguiled by the serpent, which precipitated the fall of man from grace, the human situation has been forged negatively in corruption. I have always wondered how the serpents procured the guileful information about the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. Who passed the information to the serpent, and for what purpose? And what was in it for the serpent? What did he stand to gain from that venture? The serpent certainly was a just desert afterwards by being forever conscripted to go about on his belly. Though we are not told, it seems to me that the serpent did not act alone. Do you think? It appeared certainly to be in cahoots with others. It was a masterfully calculated act. It must have been set to it by co-conspirators who wanted to assure the fall of man. Again, it seems to me that the first case of delict, which attracted opprobrious sanctions, had corruption written all over it. In the past 26 years or so, the fight against corruption has engaged global attention on almost the same scale as the human rights drive which preceded it. Now we're a bit quiet on human rights, aren't we? Now we are very vociferous on corruption. From the applaudable efforts by Transparency International, which took it upon itself to fight global corruption through the augmentation of the fight by other international organizations, notably the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, further through the adoption of national policies, laws, and regulations by states, to the involvement of civil society and corporate bodies, the fight against corruption is presently a universal bride. Perhaps we cannot describe the melee of corruption better than as captured by our own Kofi Annan in his foreword on the General Assembly resolution adopting the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. I like to repeat this quote. Doesn't like my left hand. Corruption is an insidious plague that has a wide range of corrosive effects on societies. It undermines democracy and the rule of law. It leads to violations of human rights. It distorts markets, erodes the quality of life, and allows organized crime, terrorism, and other threats to human security to flourish. We would agree with our departed brother Kofi Annan, and much energy and scholarship have been expended on the challenges confronting the fight against corruption. I have no intention of boring you with an enumeration of these well-known and oft-lamented difficulties. We know them all so well, and they play out so debilitatingly in the politics of anti-corruption.